this is Wally with Fanfiction Classroom, and today let's talk Arrow Season 5, Episode 5. I happen to have thought this was a pretty decent episode. Tobias Church finding out about Oliver, trying to orchestrate his death, and then getting the human target to protect him. I mean, which is funny, because we all thought it was going to be one of Oliver's old contacts and friends, and it wasn't. It was an old pal of John's. And, to get him to take the bullets and the shots and fake his death in order to get an upper hand on Church, which I thought was brilliant. Which in the plan to take down Church by faking Oliver's death and allowing him to get comfortable, and created an opening for Oliver and his team to take him down once and for all. And they also take down, mob bosses and criminal bosses from several different cities like Hub City and Bloodhaven and all that. In this episode, it wasn't really the story of the combat fighting Church that was the best part. John and Renee seem to have bonded. John is imparting his wisdom about his grief and his mistakes that are really resonating with Renee. And I think that that's going to be a budding mentorship between the two, where John is his moral compass helping him maintain control. And we also got to see the new dynamic between Oliver and Felicity. I'm not talking about them getting back together. We're talking about Oliver finding out about Billy, the new detective that's going to be working with the ACU. And the human target will pretend to be Oliver. You see him get a number from Susan Williams and giving it to Oliver. And this, the human target is saying that to understand and be able to do this, I need to understand the person, know as much about them as possible. And he's trying to convey to Oliver that he can be the mayor, he can be the Green Arrow, but he just can't hide behind that mask, because it's going to separate him from all the other things he's trying to do in his life. And because of this, and Oliver beginning to accept that Felicity's in a new relationship, and that he does want her to be happy, and they did have, and him and Felicity did have this conversation, that I believe that Oliver may end up dating Susan Williams for a while. I don't believe that's going to last. I mean, obviously, I'm a totally Felicity fan. I mean, her character's kind of walking the past couple seasons, but that relationship and all of that with Oliver, I'm a huge fan of. We also got to see in the flashback that, unbeknownst to Oliver, he has met the human target before. He saved his butt in Russia. He was hired by Anatoly to go undercover and protect him. I mean, it was a small thing, but it's just like this guy, he did know Oliver. He may have come to understand him a little bit more now than the little bit of time they spent together in Russia years ago. I found the last 2 minutes of the episode to be a great indicator of what Prometheus is capable of. I mean, he kills all the cops, protecting Church, opens the door, stabs another guard, and Church pretty much begs for his life. He's like, I can help you take down the Green Arrow, I can give you his name. And he's smiling all cocky, thinks he's going to get away with it. He even gives up Oliver's name. And then Prometheus just throws a throwing star into his neck. I honestly think Oliver has some connection with this dude. We all know that's a possibility and most likely. But it's pretty sure he already knows that Oliver's the Green Arrow. Because of that, I believe that Prometheus, or whoever is under the mask, or has already ingrained himself somewhere in Oliver's life, at least on a peripheral basis, to keep eye on Oliver, and so he can better plan his own dastardly plot. Overall, I think this was a pretty good episode, at least in the terms of building relationships and changing relationships. But I can't wait for next week when we get to see him come face to face with Prometheus. And it's obvious from the promo that this guy, Prometheus, is going to have some connection to the list. I mean, the list from season 1. I noticed the names of the people that Prometheus is killing, people who are on the list, and making people think it could be the Hood, it could be Oliver, and at least the team's coming to the understanding that Prometheus is driving this home, all this stuff from year 1, and I really just can't wait to see how Prometheus killing these people from the list is going to help with his plot to take down Oliver, or was it just to inflict some sort of psychological toll on him? In casting news, Lexa Dong was cast as Talia al Ghul. If you don't know who she is, she's done Stargate SG-1, Andromeda, Continuum, She's married to Michael Shanks, and they have 2 kids. If you don't know who Michael Shanks is, he did SG-1, and he did some episodes of Smallville as Hawkman. Yet the arrival of Talia al Ghul has been hinted at for the past couple seasons now, and I really think with her being introduced on Arrow and into the Arrowverse, I can only come to assume that Talia will be recreating the League of Assassins in some form under her control. She's probably differing from Nyssa, who Nyssa's, wants out, is trying to find peace in a normal life and find happiness outside of combat. But I believe Talia's arrival signifies the revival of the League of Assassins. I really just want to see that happen. Maybe even a blood feud with Oliver for revenge. That'd be pretty cool to see. I want to hear your opinions on this episode and my thoughts on Talia al Ghul. And this is it for Fanfiction Classroom. Class dismissed. Stay tuned.